How long gone? What's really good? It's Chris Black. It's a wintry mix out there. Disgusting day in New York City. Jason, you look refreshed. You look good.
I liked yesterday or the last episode. You said it's blustery, and now you said it's a wintry mix. Is that what you said?
That's right, which is a common East Coast issue where it's a mix of sleet, hail, rain, snow, unidentifiable precipitation hitting you from every angle. The wind is blowing, etc.
Yeah, we had a sprinkle this morning as well, and it affected my dog walk.
Oh no.
It was tough. It's a real, you're throttling it. You're watching your apps the whole time just to see when you're going to have a little something open up, because otherwise your dog is going to shit inside of your house.
Why do you think the weather applications are so often wrong? It seems like a thing that can be updated in real time. Maybe I'm incorrect. I'm not like a tech guy, so maybe I'm incorrect here.
Fucking idiot. Well, I would say that, the world is a very large place, planet Earth. Weather is unpredictable and it changes with myriad variables.
I agree with that.
Every microsecond, and I think they do their best, but always remember the percentage of whatever it says, 40% chance of rain.
Yeah.
It's 40% of the area that you live in will get rain, not there's a 40% likelihood that rain will happen.
Wait, what?
Don't quote me on that, but I'm pretty positive that is what that means.
Don't give me that as hardcore fact and then walk it back.
Goners in the chat will back me up, but I'm pretty sure
that isn't. No, I mean that's interesting, and I also believe it, and I'm dumb enough to not know.
Because clouds,
it's not crazy.
They're big, they're small. Water come out of some parts, water don't come out of others. It's a real crapshoot.
It's a real crapshoot.
So that's our show for the day. How long gone is the weather?
Thank you guys for listening.
Me love weather. Yeah, I'm good. I'm feeling refreshed. I've been waking up at like 5 a.m. every day and going to bed at like 9 every day. And I guess it makes me feel very good. But then, nighttime comes earlier. I'm starting to feel like Chris Black a little bit in terms of...
I stayed out late last night. I didn't get home till 10:30, 11 last night. I was out. I was in the streets.
Little thought shit. Okay, you were in the streets.
Yeah, little thought shit. I was in the streets going to Ultra Paradiso with Noah Johnson, Jonah Weiner, and my friend Isaac from who's visiting from Atlanta. It was a real thought experience out there, having some pasta with the lads.
Yeah, I saw the photo that you posted on your Instagram stories. I don't know if I would call that thought behavior. It was 3 40-year-old guys wearing overcoats on the sidewalk doing a thumbs up.
Hey, at least I was the only one not in Evan Kenori, so I feel like I feel I felt out of the loop, but it was fun. But I did get home pretty late, and I'm paying for it today.
Mm-hmm.
I'm paying for it today because I did get up at 5:30 as well.
Yeah, I did a garage workout yesterday because it was raining.
Okay,
so I was feeling like I've clocked that I'm a suburban dad. Like in the last week, and I need to like make sure I don't become guy who lives in his garage and like builds the garage out with like. There's a guy who lives around the corner from me.
You do have to watch that. Honestly, there's
a 40% chance that this guy listens to my podcast because that's just the way the world works. So like, who is this guy? They'll look him up, and then they'll figure it out. They'll listen to the pod. I know multiple neighbors listen to my pod, so I got to be careful. But he's got the type of guy who's got a Honda pickup truck.
It's funny you bring that up. The Honda pickup truck, one of the wildest vehicles that a man can drive. Like, why on earth? How can you take a truck and make it less manly? It's the least manly. It's got a sewing machine engine in it.
We have had a lot of fashion guests on the show lately, so thank you for weaving that into our hashtag. All of our tailors and seamstresses listening. Yeah, it is. It's a certain type, and once you hear that, They often have a specialized bicycle brand die cut, laser cut sticker on the back.
The Honda truck is also, if I'm not mistaken,
specialized. If you still want to sponsor How Long Gone, I will delete that.
It's called, isn't it called the Honda Ridgeline? Isn't that the name of the truck? Even that doesn't sound.
I think it might be Ridgeline.
That sounds fake. It doesn't sound like a real truck. Tacoma, that sounds like a fucking truck. F-150, that sounds like a goddamn truck.
I saw a new Tacoma a couple days ago, and they finally started making them look normal again. Like, it's not the front end still looks really gay and goofy, but the rest of the truck is becoming regular again. It's not Whittle Watter territory anymore.
You can't drive those anymore though. Sorry. It's like it still feels
pickup
like
trucks?
No, that a Tacoma still feels like a guy who like does CrossFit and lives in Silver Lake and spent $100,000 on a Tacoma. That's the vibe. It's over. It's over.
Rivian took that crown. Now, I mean, Tacoma is, at least where I live, it's just like a working class truck. It's for people.
It is not a working class truck.
It is.
No, it used to
Bro,
be.
every pool man, gardener, they all have these sick ass TRD Tacoma. I mean, obviously they're living
Jason,
in compounding generational debt, buying like. You know, they live in a fucking 1-bedroom house with their 7 family members, and they got a $78,000 car that they're paying off.
You know what those guys also wear? They also wear Carhartts. You think those haven't been co-opted by fucking guys that wear Byredo perfume?
It depends on.
They have.
There's certain collabs that we can use, so we don't have. You know. You could instantly tell just by looking at something or listening.
No, you're right.
Like,
you're right.
You're wearing this. This is stolen valor. This is valor.
That's why I could never actually buy and drive a truck because I would stink like stolen valor. I can do it for fun at the Enterprise lot, but I can't do it for real. So what is your Ridgeline neighbor doing in his garage?
Bro, it is.
Hold on. Does it have a TV?
Oh yeah. It has a flat screen that is mounted on the wall. Big boy, 65 maybe. And it is always on.
Okay.
It's definitely one of those things where you walk in the garage, you flip one switch, beep, and the whole thing lights up.
And
what? The fat tire neon sign comes on.
Oh shit, he went crazy.
Yeah. But also the other thing is like it's nice as hell. Like he has a standing desk
he
set
did a good
up,
job.
And it's in the back of the garage. The door's open 6 a.m. to 6 p.m. all day long. He's in there. He's got bikes and dogs. He's got the tib bar. He's got the knees over toes thingy.
Not the tib bar. Okay, so this guy sounds eerily similar to you. With every
you brought it back to the point. Is like I walk past his house. There's 3 other dudes. They're all dressed just like me. I'm wearing Arc'teryx head to toe, of course, Arky shit. One guy's walking up with his dog. He's got the Patagonia. The other guy walks up. He's got the Marmot beanie on. It's just like 40-year-old dudes. They have kids and stuff and like jobs and families. I'm an independent content creator.
You're a dog dad. Don't do that.
I'm a dog dad for sure. But they're really living the embodiment of suburban lifestyle.
They earned that look in that garage.
Yeah. I live in Glendale because in 2018, I identified that as an emerging market to invest in, and it was close to Atwater Village. They live there because, like, the schools and stuff like that.
This is a very interesting development because I think that this is going to be too powerful for you to avoid. I think this is your eventual. This is where you're going, and there's nothing you can do to stop it.
Yeah, well, I have. I just powered up my Sonos Move that I liberated from your home, and
that was a gift from me to you for your household.
What is going to stop me from bringing that out to the garage while I'm doing my Renegade Rose? I've got big ass truck on the Spotify, and I'm blasting my shit.
No, you're absolutely right. There's no way that you're not going to end up like this. And I think as you keep collecting more items and putting them there, why not get the Red Zone package on the 65-inch in the garage? Why not move a leather couch in? Why not get a Red Bull fridge? There's so many things that you could do. And it's like I mean, we all do like a space to go to. I won't call it a man cave, but it's not a
it's
man
a them
cave.
Well, for me it's a them cave.
It's a them cave. And I think that there's certain things I would prescribe, maybe a different neon sign. I'm not sure exactly what that would be yet. I'm going to think on that.
Yeah.
But you have to have a neon.
Yeah, don't become the vintage Pizza Hut stained glass chandelier guy in the garage. It's a gateway.
That's a
stepping stone to a darker place. But the thing that I like about the garage, in my garage, Weezer song plays now.
I feel
so
safe.
Like yesterday, I worked out in it in the morning, and I'm very tall, and I'm able to do my kettlebell presses up to the very top. It's high up, so I'm like, I can do everything. I can do my workout. It's all good. And then later on that night, I finished making a lovely dinner, blah, blah, blah. I want to smoke a cig. It's raining. Open the garage door, pull out my Burberry folding chair. And so like how many people have a place in their house with a fully functional gym that you can also smoke in?
No one. This is the only way. This is the only way to do it. It's really the only way to do it.
I did a quick podcast yesterday with Alex Two-Town, friend of the show, Powerful Truth Angels, and I was on the little panel with rapper Buddy, who I love, and I'm gonna try to get him on the pod. He's fucking amazing. He's a hilarious guy. But we were talking about hookah, and about how he's like, what are your thoughts on hookah? And I was like, blah blah blah. But now I'm thinking, if I were to ever hookah, like if I do like a Drake style spiral,
hell yeah,
the garage is a beautiful hookah zone.
Oh, garage with some folding chairs in a circle around the hookah. Mm-hmm. And I ain't sharing tips. You know that. I bring my own tips.
I don't share tips. Party next door is on the Sonos. We live, baby.
Imagine somebody walking up and me and you are hitting the hookah with Party on the Sonos in the garage. That's a dream.
Yeah, walking the dog by and you just hear controller.
All right, a quick announcement. We are doing On Air Festival as part of Talkhouse's programming. Our guest will be friend of the show, Jason Isbell. That is on February 21st at 11 a.m. deep in the heart of Brooklyn. If you're
deep in the heart of Brooklyn,
if you're in the podcast universe, hopefully you'll be there. If not, we'll see you when we see you. But we do also have a guest today. We're crossing the pond.
And also that same day, February 21st, mark your calendars, we're going to do a party. DJ Them Jeans, Ludwig Hurtado. Can we announce the venue?
Yeah, at Jeans.
It's at Jeans. We're going to have some special guests, some friends of the show. A guy who has remixed a song that I played on here a few weeks ago. He's going to come by and play.
If you go to NYU, you're not welcome. We have a guest today. We're crossing the pond, as you know, as usual. Bella Freud is a designer. She's had an eponymous brand for quite a long time. They do clothing and homewares, but she also has a new podcast that's like the only fashion podcast anyone has said is good. It's called Fashion Neurosis.
I also like Line Sheet on Puck.
It's different though. It's like I know. Jonathan Anderson, Nick Cave.
Yeah, her first episode was she's like, oh yeah, I'm just gonna do Rick Owens,
Cate Blanchett.
And then, her most recent episode, Cate Blanchett. I mean, if you're like, who's a better guest for your podcast? Name somebody better than Cate. I don't know if I could. I'm excited to talk with her.
Let's give her a call.
What room are we in right now?
In the kitchen, which is where I live. And then through here, through this window, I haven't got any lights on, so you can't see, but that's where I record the podcast, in my sitting room.
Oh, it's actually in your house.
Yeah.
I think that's the way it should be. Okay. And you have a very lovely plant in there. It looks tropical.
Yeah, it's just some kind of thing. I can't remember.
You don't remember the Latin genius name of that?
Not of this one. I've got another plant over here, which is called Sparmania, which sounds a bit more Latin.
Yeah.
Like Mania africanus or something.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway.
Do you often work in the kitchen?
Yeah, I do. When I work at home, I work here. So I've got my table, the computer, and a thing of mayonnaise in the fridge. And that's...
I was gonna ask if you're a big snacker and you have to be kind of at ground zero, or if it's just your favorite room in the house.
It's just the only room with a table. So,
well, hopefully we're gonna do more of those BetterHelp ads, and we'll be able to get enough money, and we can get some tables in the other rooms.
Fingers crossed.
Get some furnishings going. Okay, so what do you do with this mayonnaise? Are you a mayonnaise lover, or is it just one of those things that's always in your refrigerator?
Yeah, I'm not very good about having things to eat, and for some reason there's always.
I mean, it keeps us skinny, babe.
Yeah, and also if I'm so nervous, my appetite's evaporated, which happens quite a lot. If I put mayonnaise on something, it kind of revives it. So it's got multi-purposes.
Mayonnaise is the sugar that makes the medicine go down sweet. We were interviewing a writer, Jonathan Ames, a month or so ago, and he said, I mean, he loves eating pickled fish and things like that. I'm not a big fan of it. I love food, but pickled herring and sardines and all those things. And I was like, how do you eat it? And he said, you mix enough mayonnaise in there until it's tolerable. And I love mayonnaise as well, but it's one of the most fattening things you could ever consume. You know that, right?
Yeah, I heard.
You've heard that by now?
Yeah.
But I can't stop. It's like a drug that I know I shouldn't be having.
It is.
But it's perfection.
It is perfection. It just makes like something have many more dimensions than you ever knew.
I've never heard
possible.
two people speak so poetically about mayonnaise. And I want to pat you both on the back because I find it disgusting, and avoid it at all costs.
Many do.
That exchange was quite convincing, I have to say.
I hate butter, which everyone loves, but I love mayonnaise.
Really?
What is your issue with butter? Is it a flavor? Is it a texture?
Everything. I've hated it since I can ever remember, and even when I'm bordering on starving, which I have been occasionally, I couldn't eat bread with butter on. It just makes me want to throw up.
This is the first instance of ever hearing anyone say this in my entire life. I don't know a single person who is not obsessed with bread and butter.
Really? God.
Yeah.
Yeah. Have you met any other people who are positively repulsed by butter?
Yeah, one or two. We're in a very exclusive club.
I guess you guys find each other in the world eventually.
We have a Reddit group that is very small, but we're small but mighty. Small but mighty.
Okay, so then in your for your breakfast in the morning, cup of black coffee. I'm assuming based on the fact that you're smoking indoors right now.
Yeah, it's my house. I can do what I want.
I'm so jealous. I'm so envious. It's so cool.
Roll up.
I love it. Okay, so
if you smoke a roll up, it doesn't contaminate. So I just smoke a roll up occasionally.
Is that what you tell your parents and they believe you?
Well, luckily they're dead, so I don't have to tell them.
Do you know? Is there a science behind the fact that if you roll your own cigarette, it doesn't stink up the house? Is it the chemicals they put in the filters and things?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, I can't really smoke a real cigarette anymore. I just have this craving for a cigarette around this time of day.
Yeah, sure.
But now I have a roll-up with tobacco paper, what's it called? Licorice papers.
Whoa.
And a menthol filter. And it's
hold on, Bella. Hold on. What? I've never heard of a licorice paper. Is that just a nod to its black tone, or is it like?
No, it's scented with anise.
Yeah, it's flavored, so it's almost sweet.
Oh,
so it's multi-effective.
Okay, so you have accessorized your cigarette to the very end of the possibilities of accessorization. Roll your own cigarette, so you're choosing your specific tobacco, a specific flavored paper, and then adding a menthol filter to it.
Yeah, that gives a little bit more.
Yeah.
Is this something that you have done since young adulthood, or is this something you've come to more recently?
I've come to, but probably in the last 10 years, which is quite recent for me. Yeah, now I've gone off actual cigarettes. I find them a bit like they take your oxygen, but somehow this is wonderful.
Right now there are 4,000 people listening to this who have just bought licorice papers and menthol filters on Amazon.co.uk right now because you've painted a picture. It sounds amazing. Do you ever put a little marijuana in there?
Never. I hate marijuana.
All right, so just to be clear, she likes mayonnaise and anise flavored papers, but no to marijuana and butter.
repulsed by marijuana and butter. I mean, I know the Italians, they do a licorice cigar, after their meal as a digestive.
Oh, that's exciting.
Shout out to Davide.
Are we live then?
Oh yeah, we're live. Yeah, we've been live.
Right.
Oh, we've been live.
We've been live. This is what we talk about. Our topics are a little less maybe in depth than yours are, let's say.
No, because I've listened to you, but I didn't know whether you'd edited out the terrible bits or not.
Oh, I will.
Yeah, that happens too. But did you listen to us when someone told you should, or did you find it on your own?
No, I have to confess, I listened when I heard about you. So
sure.
Then I listened to you talking to Mel Ottenberg, and that was very entertaining. I sat next to him once at a fashion show, and he was great.
He's a hoot.
That was really fun, yeah. But I don't listen to many podcasts, if I'm honest. So
you seem far too cool to really listen to podcasts in general. And I'm not being not being sarcastic or derogatory at all. It's just some people, like my wife, she's very cool. She works in fashion. She's like, I don't fucking listen to podcasts. What are you talking about? Yeah. There's music in the world.
I listen to quite a lot of audiobooks as well. So I can have things to think about all the time, or other people's ideas kind of streaming into my head.
But do you have your neutral time as well, where you're not consuming anything or producing anything?
Not much, I must say. I'm finding neutral time is quite hard to handle at the moment. So I want to be immersed in sort of other people's ideas and other stories and stuff. So,
well, you should take a little bit of time every day to blow a little air out of the balloon, though, It's not easy, of course.
But that is my kind of time for blowing the air out in a weird way. It's like reading, or I do listen to music a lot. But because I live on my own, I spend a lot of time alone. Yeah. So that's what I'm doing at the moment. I know it sounds a bit mad, but
no.
I think it's a lot more common.
You don't have to meditate because you are meditation personified.
I think it's a lot more common than you realize. I think I would say a large majority of people have something going all the time, whether it's TV or a audiobook or a podcast or whatever it is. I think that's like,
or even just a book,
how we live now. There's too much to consume, and you feel like you're behind if you don't do it to some extent.
Even when we're asleep, 30 Rock is playing. You know what I mean? Until the timer goes off. But yeah, I mean, I think that it's something that I've been talking to my therapist about. Is the ideal, and I've mentioned it here before. Like, it should be like a third of your time is spent creating, a third of your time consuming, and a third of your time doing neither. And not even listening to ambient background music, just like going for a walk, and that's it.
Yeah, I do that. I love going for walks, but I don't even think of it as consuming. I think of it more as having time to think about other things, but I suppose mostly like literature and music, it calms me down, and the news is so unbearable that there needs to be something else happening, and then I feel equilibrium.
No, I'm the same way. And that happened during COVID, where I couldn't listen to music anymore. I had to hear people talking.
Yeah.
So I would not hear myself thinking,
Yeah.
But you can't do that forever.
Do you process an audiobook the same way you do if you read one?
No, it really needs, it's different. It depends on the voice and the story. And because sometimes I can drift off. So I need a certain type of story and voice on an audiobook that works particularly that way, if that makes any sense. And sometimes things that are too depressing to read, you can listen to. And then you can kind of slightly opt out of how much gravitas there is to absorb and, digest. And you can pick up the bits that you like a lot. Like in COVID, I listened to that book called The Body Keeps the Score.
Sure.
And I tried reading some of it as well. And I just thought, God, I can't handle this. But the voice was really good. And he talked about such disturbing things, but somehow it was absorbable. And yeah, it was really good. I got a lot from that.
Did you read that book, Chris? My wife read it. I'm sure your wife read it too. Unless you disallowed her to.
No. I've not read that. I'm familiar with it, but I
always thought when that book became popular, I felt that just the title of the book told me, I was like, I don't need to read that book because the title explains it perfectly.
Yeah.
Obviously, there's more to it than the title, I'm assuming.
But it's you're right. It has got like all the information in the title. It makes you notice things in a different way instead of worrying about things too much. You realize the worry is coming from your kind of nervous system, and you can separate it from your anxiety, from the information.
So where on your body do you hold your stress?
In my stomach. I have stomach aches all the time, which is where it kind of manifests. And
has nothing to do with your mayonnaise, though, right?
Well, I've had to limit my mayonnaise.
I've had to cut back, if I'm being completely honest with you. I've had to cut back.
I think most people hold their stress in their stomach, right?
I don't.
Shoulder stress.
No, I don't at all. I like neck.
Do you have stress, Chris?
I'm the most stressed out person on this call probably, but I'm the best at masking it, and that's my greatest skill.
Is masking it a good thing?
Yeah.
I don't know if I have an option. I mean, I don't really know. I don't know what else.
It's like, do we replace the rotten fence, or do we put another coat of paint on top? You know what I mean?
If that's the case, then I got 10 layers of paint on this body. I got 10 layers of paint.
I think masking is useful. It makes you know that you can function in spite of a lot of anxiety, and then the anxiety diminishes when you can still function. You think, actually, I'm okay.
How bad is it?
Stop. That's the worst thing, is not to be able to function.
For a Freud, you've got a lot of beautiful shortcuts and workarounds instead of doing the hard work. You phrase it in a way where at first I'm like, this seems like a coping mechanism or a cop-out, but then by the end of it, I'm like, that makes sense.
Well, a lot of experience.
Yeah, I was going to say.
Also in fashion, you have these situations that are so extreme and everything's going wrong. And if you lose your cool, the whole thing will fall to bits. So somehow you have to make it work. And then you figure out a way. And then somehow stress isn't as much of a threat.
No, I totally agree. I totally agree with you. My whole approach to life is power through.
Yeah.
No matter what, we got to power through. I don't really take breaks. You can't, there's just only, you just have to hit it head on sometimes.
But when you're done, you've produced a big fashion show, high stress, everything's going wrong, you're finally done. And then at the wrap party, you're having a martini and a cigarette. Is that when the stress melts away at that point, or do you need a little more time?
No, it can melt away way before then. It can melt away during the whole process, amazingly enough. I mean, I have less of that now, but I remember very vividly a long time ago when I worked for Vivienne Westwood, and backstage there was chaos, and part of it was because I hadn't done my job properly. Like I hadn't done the running order properly. I mean, back in the day, things weren't as organized as they are now. And I just remember I remember hearing about another designer who was sitting on the steps crying while everything was going wrong, and thinking, I must never, ever be that person, because that's a disaster. And that was like 30 years ago or something. And that stayed. And I just thought, when things are going wrong, you have to sort of go zen, figure out how to make it work. And then like doing a fitting and stuff. And I was doing a fitting earlier on and looking at this coat thinking, oh my God, I can't see what to do. Why is this looking so awful? And thinking I just have to go on and on fiddling about with it until something comes through, and then that makes the rest of it work out. And then I feel so kind of happy when I've managed to get through, get over the chasm or make a bridge somehow or other to being able to think of what I need to do to make it work.
Right. And then the more times through your life that you do go through the fire and get to the other end, the easier it gets. You're able to focus on just think about what it's going to feel like when I'm done, when this ugly coat finally looks good. How often do you ask for help from other people in those situations?
Yeah, I ask for help, but I also don't stop thinking about what I can do. So I'll be like, oh God, why isn't this work? What do you think? Blah, blah, blah. But I'm doing it at the same time. I'm touching the fabric. I'm pulling it around. I put it on someone else. And so maybe someone else comes up with the solution, but I'm staying in the game. I don't think I can't.
You haven't wiped your hands clean of it. You're still in it, and that way you could still take credit as well. Do you remember the first time Westwood asked you for help?
She didn't really. She just kind of knew what to do. She was just great. I remember one time which was really great when she rang up and she was at home and she'd made this tweed crown. It was many years ago. And she said, oh, I just don't know if this is working. I'm going to send it over in a cab. And then so this plastic bag arrived and I pulled out this thing and put it on. And it was the most incredible thing. And it was so beautiful. And I rang her up and said, Vivienne, this is amazing. Because she'd said to me very unusually, I'll send it over. And if you think it doesn't work, we'll drop it. And that was a real moment that it was just an incredible kind of feeling to be part of something and to have her ask my opinion, and also to be able to look at it and think, this is amazing, and immediately know it was good and it worked and everything. And
what would you have told her if you pulled it out of that plastic bag and it was ugly as a motherfucker? Would you be honest?
Oh yeah, I would say I don't know why this just doesn't look good, but it did look good. So she didn't really have self-doubt at all. She was very confident, and it was often hard to follow her vision because it was often be something you'd never seen before. And I remember when she was making this jacket that was like armor and it was tweed and the arm had 3 sections, and thinking, oh my God, I mean, how's this going to work? Who's going to want to wear this? And then it would be so beautiful. And I think, why am I so idiot? What's wrong with me? Why don't I see this? But that was my learning experience. That's what I learned from her, was to push through really and have, my job was her assistant. So I learned a lot from being her assistant.
How long did you do that?
3 years.
I'm sure you learned a lot. Yeah, I mean, just a brain like that where she's like, oh, I made this thing. What do you think about it? And everyone else in the world is like, that is an unidentifiable object that you have created. Nobody else on Earth has the jurisdiction to have an opinion on it. They're just like, you're an alien. Who knows? But that's why she is who she is.
Yeah, I mean, she was amazing in that way, and they were so beautiful, the things she made, that even when people didn't get it at first, they then did get it, because she just thought, well, you're stupid, you don't see this. And then they did see it then after maybe not the first time, and then it would become really popular, and it would be so exciting for all of us who'd worked in the studio and been, completely faithful to that it would be great.
That it would work.
Trust the process.
Yeah.
Do you have a lot of stuff from that time still? Did you hold on to all of it?
No, I sold loads of it. I wish I still had.
Did you sell it at the right time, at the height of its market?
No, of course not.
Definitely not. I was going to say, I was like, no, hell no.
No.
Yeah.
She's like, I got to clean this closet out. I mean, I think about that a lot because I am forced to get rid of stuff very often, and I'm definitely a collector is a nice way to put it. And it feels good in the moment, but then I'm always have a little in the back of my head, like, should I have kept that? You know, and it's definitely not Vivienne Westwood samples. You know, it's not that, but it's stuff that I'm like, I don't know why I can't just let it go.
It's a Manic Street Preachers hoodie in burgundy.
Yeah, I'm not sure why I can't just let it go. I don't know. I can't let it go. I just can't. Or even if I do, I don't mentally let it go, which is maybe worse.
You couldn't bear for another person to have this specific thing. And, you know, you'll sell that $400 you make. It's gone tomorrow, you know?
I don't care. Yeah, well, it's not even about money. I think it's about, I just sort of like, I don't know. It feels like things I identify myself with. So if I don't have them, it's like, what do I have, you know?
Photos of them?
Yeah, literally iPhone photos of the t-shirt.
Yeah, it's called the cloud. Everything that I own is just on the cloud, man.
I live alone in an empty apartment. It's all in the cloud. I don't have to deal with anything anymore.
But then it's impossible to find anything in the cloud there. It goes there and you just might as well not have it because it's like
the cloud feels more like an idea than a reality to me as well, but I do trust the process much like you with Vivienne. I trust the process of the iCloud. I have to.
There's really no other option. Well, I wanted to talk a little bit about your podcast as well. How has the success of it affected clothing sales for your brand?
Yeah, it's been great actually. It's so strange the way you can do something different and it affects something else. And I've always liked that idea of the Trojan horse, that you know, that you do something and then something else happens. And it was one of the reasons why I thought about starting. So it's like, God, I need to have more distribution. How do I get into different realms and be more visible? Because you can't really count on product, you know, somehow just this relentless selling of things can be, you know, people just saying, I don't want to buy anything more. I don't want to buy something from you. But so
rude.
Yeah, it's been really great also because it's so much fun and it's another idea and it's born out of like my life of work.
Yeah, it's almost perfect. I when I heard about it and I heard the story and obviously your family lineage and everything, it's one of those things where like how did this not work out? You know, it couldn't be more perfect and ideal. It's an elevator pitch. That's a guaranteed winner for anyone you tell it to. Do you wish that you started it earlier?
No, I sort of think this is the perfect time. I've been thinking about like, because I suppose there are so many stories in fashion that you don't see in media. You know, when people do films about fashion, they're very one-dimensional and everyone's a certain way. And they don't hear about all the stuff that goes on really and how, you know, how hard people work and all their camaraderie and also the loyalty, because I think fashion business is presented as very competitive and bitchy, and it is too, but there's all this empathy and sympathy and, you know, love, certain designers who other designers just love and all this code. And I thought, God, I'd love to write something. And so I started thinking, is there some sort of mini series? And I tried to write something and just thought, oh my God, this is impossible. And so it started there. And then I ended up with this, and I wanted it to be like a chat show. And I couldn't find a platform, or, you know, it was a bit far-fetched and no one was that receptive. And then I thought, I feel like people will relate to stories that come to them via clothes. and there's all sorts of other, it's a gateway, and people have memories, and you can just go anywhere from that. And then I thought, I need a prop. So then I thought, okay, if they're lying down, I'm in the chair. Obviously, it's kind of very tongue in cheek. And also, I thought someone else is going to do this. And if they do it and I haven't done it, I'll be so annoyed.
It's kind of my thing.
That can be a driving force. That can be a very powerful force.
Yeah.
First to market, as they say. Well, on the subject of laying down, I've never done therapy laying down. I obviously know that's a common way to do it. I do therapy standing up the same way I do a podcast. What do you think about standing therapy?
I never thought of that. I mean, my therapist, I thought I'd better try the lying down thing. And so when I went last time, I said, can I just lie down for a bit and see what it's like? But then I started to drift off, and I like looking at him. I like the connection.
I would absolutely fall asleep. Okay,
so you tried the lay.
I was definitely heading that way, and I thought, I don't want to be asleep. I want to be as awake as possible.
Yeah, you're paying $300 an hour. You want to be awake.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I always have a theory that when you're spending money to sleep, it's the best sleep. Like when you fall asleep in a movie, you just spent 20 quid on a movie and you fell asleep. That sleep is somehow so much better. It's like when you go to a show that you buy a ticket to versus getting on the guest list for free.
Yeah.
You're going to enjoy it because of that subconscious dollar spent. So I would love to go to therapy, spend my $150, not $300.
That explains a lot about you and your kind of mental state.
Just imagine, you're laying on the couch, you're talking about your childhood, and next thing you know, they're waking you up. That's got to be the most refreshing, amazing nap of your life, right?
Yeah, I suppose in theory, but we'd
have to try it out, of course.
I mean, my therapist is quite keen on silences, and he says it's fine to not say anything. And I say, I don't want to sit here and not say anything. So can you ask me something?
I can do that for free.
Amenable.
Well, that's like the interview tactic, though, where the interviewer, will just try to basically challenge you with silence so that you feel forced to fill the air, and then you admit something or say something that you might not have.
Yeah, is that a tactic that you apply in your studies?
I like pauses that feel awkward, I suppose, in theory. And I know I can obviously edit it out if it goes on for too long. But when I was experimenting with trying out different conversations and doing like the setups before I started, I left gaps because I thought maybe I'll need gaps for editing, because I don't know how to, this is all new to me. And then it felt quite natural, and I don't want to interrupt what people are saying. I want to listen so that I have something, I feel if I listen carefully, I'll know what to say next, even though I have my questions. But I like the idea of being able to, go around and be a bit more free, and something might come into my head. So I found that what people would consider to be awkward silence, like when I met Cate Blanchett at an event, and I was thinking, oh my God, I hope I get to talk to her. And she listened to the podcast and said, I love the awkward silences. So I thought, great, I love.
You're like, I knew I was right. I knew this shit worked.
Everyone else hates it, but Cate Blanchett loves it, so we're leaving it in.
You love.
I mean, whatever Cate says goes in my book.
You're right.
Are you editing?
No, I have an amazing editor.
Okay.
I go through the recording and I make notes.
Yeah.
And then I send it to him, and he's very good. So I have to make that many notes.
And also, speaking of lying on the couch, what is your policy with shoes on the couch?
Oh, I love the shoes on the couch. I want to have the total look on the couch. So sometimes I've had to beg someone to keep their shoes on, and one or two people just said, I can't have the shoes on the couch. But Rick Owens, his amazing high-heeled boots on the couch was just an incredible sight. And I feel like I don't want it to be too relaxed. I want it to be the whole fashion on the couch, whatever, even if someone's just wearing any old thing. I mean, most people are, but yeah, I kind of feel like it's a good irreverence and not too relaxing either. I don't want it to be too cozy in case someone falls asleep.
Yeah, you take your shoes off, you get a blanket, all of a sudden it's...
So you had a few guests who just on principle could not imagine putting their shoes on a guest's couch.
Yeah, like Kristen Scott Thomas said, nope, I'm not doing that.
No.
And she gets what she wants. So I was like, okay, she had, she had her socks and Cate Blanchett had bought her slippers with her. So that was lovely. So she had this other thing.
Were they like her hotel room slippers or were they some Charvet?
They were lovely. They were from Japan, I thought, with like check tweed on, and they were great. So that looked really nice.
Kate, do you wear slippers around the house?
Yeah, I've got these Adidas sliders and I've got these horrible Birkenstock things that I wear.
Okay, so which Birkenstocks are they? Are they the two-strap or are they the clog?
They're the two-strap, but they're sort of fashiony ones with a bit of a platform because I love a platform.
You've got the Jeremy Scott two-straps? What do you got?
I've got Jeremy Scott Ugg slippers at work. Oh, amazing, with embroidered flames on them.
Yes, I'm familiar with those. Yeah. So when you go to the office, you change into Jeremy Scott Uggs, is what you're telling us?
Very occasionally.
I like that you're okay with wearing ugly shit. It's refreshing and cool.
I mean, they're pretty cool, I have to say. They sort of go through the mirror of ugliness and
come out the other side.
Beautiful.
Very well put. Very well put.
I think that changing into... I've recently adopted slippers at home in the last year. Because I'm a big barefoot. I don't like to wear socks. I don't really like to have shoes, if I'm in the house. But the slipper has changed my life for the better. And I'm glad that I embraced it late in life.
Really?
But it's so cold here that it's hard to go barefoot.
It's colder in New York where I live. And I still, something about just something about being barefoot. I don't know. I just like it. I've always like I wear penny loafers all the time, and I hate wearing socks with penny loafers. I think it looks like unnatural.
Oh my God, that's a big subject on Fashion Neurosis. To love a sock or not. I personally love a sock, but Kristen Scott Thomas hates a sock.
I don't know what it's not like I'm from some like tropical climate where like I grew up not wearing socks. You
don't really scream like the nudist colony type either.
Yeah, no. Only my ankles get to breathe. But yeah, I don't know. It just seems like my feet don't get cold. Like my feet aren't cold. Like I could walk around.
Wow.
And if I have shoes on, then I don't get it. It feels like an extra layer I don't need.
Oh gosh, I'm always cold, so I have socks on a lot of the time.
Do you like them because of the way they look, or you like the function, or both?
Both, yeah. So yeah, my hands and feet are always cold, so I often wear socks in bed and then take them off in the middle of the night.
Sure, of course. Are these just
information?
I've tried to have like cashmere socks for home because I thought it was cool, and then it's literally the opposite of cool. My feet are sweating and I can't wear those, even though I think it's a great idea to have elder statesman socks in like hot pink.
Oh yeah.
Well, speaking of cold, I was listening I think to the episode with Cate Blanchett, and you guys were talking about cold plunges, cold showers, and I think that subject of like swimming in cold water has come up a few times on your show. It's a popular thing now. But I recall you mentioning that you do a cold shower instead of an ice plunge or, going into the lake or whatever.
Yeah.
But you said that you do warm water first and then switch to cold at the end.
Yeah.
And I think most people do the opposite. Do you have a theory on that?
Well, I think she sounds like she has a lake. So she goes in there and then warms up after. But
she has
your Sands Lake.
She has a personal lake that she gets in, and then she's.
I wasn't talking about the method, more so the order of hot and cold. So usually you'll go in the cold, sit in there in the cold shower until it's unbearable, then crank up the warmth back to normal. But you do the opposite?
I do the opposite because the cold is what the shock. And so I need the shock to wake me up and transform my mood. So, but when you go in swimming in a lake or a river, it's so cold afterwards that you need heating up sometimes. So I have tried it that way, but my routine is a hot shower. And then when I'm clean, 2 minutes of cold to a kind of lively beat of music, which has to accompany.
So you listen to music in the shower?
Oh yeah, I always listen to music in the shower.
Do you have like speakers installed in the bathroom, or do you bring a portable speaker in?
I just have my phone. It's pathetic. I have got a little mini speaker, but mostly I just put the phone on nearby so I can then put on the 2-minute alarm, and then I have like Elton John or some like as fast music as possible.
Like Saturday Night's All Right for fighting kind of Elton John? Shaking it all out in the shower?
Take Me to the Pilot is one of my favorites. It's like, it's just so optimistic. Or Billie Eilish and Charlie XCX. I love that song, Guess. It's so fast, and Izzo Boys is really like.
I really like the idea of you listening to Guess in the shower at 7 a.m. Just getting your day going.
It's so effective.
You're edging something bad, because normally edging, it's like I'm going to eventually. At the end, I'm finally going to orgasm, or I'm finally going to do whatever. I'm finally going to eat dinner, or, breaking a fast or whatever. You're going from a beautiful, warm, steaming shower, and then you're edging that moment where hell happens. You turn the water all the way to cold, press play on Guess the Color of My Underwear, and then you just scream and shriek for 2 minutes. That sounds amazing.
Yeah, it's good. I love it.
You don't have to guess the color of your underwear. Already know what you got going on down there. It's the lacy black pair.
I agree with you though, Jason. I would go hot to cold if I'm doing that. If I get out of the sauna, I will get into I'll relax, and then I'll get into the shower, and it'll be warm, not hot, but warm, and then I go to cold. Same thing, because you want it kind of like end on a high note, I guess.
Okay.
Weirdly, the cold warms you up. It just blasts everything out, and it's a lot to do with mood, because the warmth is so nice, but then I feel myself like drifting to the shadow and think, no, I can't go there. I've got to be, just like.
It makes you less vigilant.
It makes me more relaxed in a straight. It sort of doesn't make sense, but.
Yeah, you don't want to start your day feeling like a swaddled child.
Yes.
You want to be
exactly.
rip roaring, ready to go.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, when you're in the shower, maybe we can introduce like a eucalyptus blast that could increase another sensory overload. I'm sure. Or what's your scent at Santa Maria Novella?
Oh yeah, it's a Melograno.
That's my favorite. That's the soap in my bathroom right now. That's my favorite one.
Yeah. It's just
so there's some Melograno room spray, a couple pss, pss, pss in the shower.
No, I got the Melograno soap, but then it can't be too seductive. I mean, I have a kind of funny thing between like indulgence and what's the opposite, Spartanism. I've always been like interested in that since I was a really small child, when we learned about at school, like when I was 10. And I thought, okay, that's how I'm going to handle life. I'll have these endurance tests, and I'll be able to handle things if I know I can do these things. And I just, I mean, now I'm much less sort of, self-punishing, but I like to experiment with what
I'm glad to hear. I'm proud of you. I'm proud of you.
I mean, usually the earlier part of your life is where you suffer the most pain and punishment, and ideally, as you get older and of more means and knowledge about the world, it's a little more comfortable. You know what makes you happy and doesn't.
Yeah, it's true. It's good. I suppose I like to feel like I had some control over my life, and that's how I experimented.
Mm-hmm. This is starting to feel a little baby girl now, by the way, Bella.
She's like, yeah, that's right. That's the whole point.
Let's go pay some bills. Yeah, well, actually, speaking of advertising, I was listening to your podcast, and I really loved how you and we do the same thing. We do a podcast. We will do an ad read for BetterHelp, a therapy service. And when we do it, it's like two guys being like, what up? This podcast is brought to you by BetterHelp, bruh. And then when your BetterHelp ad comes on, there's this kind of solemn piano music that's beautiful. And then you say, this is a paid advertisement.
Yeah, it actually makes you want to use BetterHelp.
I was like, holy shit, we
do the exact opposite.
I thought we were good at doing ads, but you really... You put some effort and thought into your ad reading, and that's rare nowadays. I would like to hear more about your ad read process.
Well, I really wanted to do BetterHelp because I love therapy and believe in it. And so there's certain things you have to say, like this is a paid advertisement. Yeah. But then the bits that I've got so many things that I could use as my things that I have addressed through therapy. And
all of your green lights.
Yeah. I know, like being guarded and wary and testing people and then as I'm saying it, I'm thinking, oh my God, I better actually stop being such a bitch or whatever.
They like that, actually. I think that's the surprising, because I think the idea is that they trust you to translate the advertisement for your listeners and what they like.
Yeah. Yeah.
So you do a good job of it making it feel like the show, which is the goal.
Yeah, that's what I want to do. And it's fun it's much more fun like that. It feels real, even though, it is an advert. But
sometimes we like to talk as fast as we can in advertisements, which is a fun when you have like a disclaimer, and you want to read it as fast as you can. And that is my favorite part because it feels like a personal challenge.
It makes him feel like he's doing a real advertisement.
But I heard one of your advertisements and I looked it up. I thought, God, that sounds really good. So I can't remember what it was now. It's ridiculous, but
we have a good conversion rate.
I hope you used our code "How Long" at checkout.
Was it for Nutrafol? It looks like you have a healthy head of hair. It couldn't be that.
Well, it was for
Squarespace. You probably already have a website. Quince.
I can't.
She ain't using Quince, Chief.
Rocket Money. Squarespace. BetterHelp, Mint Mobile. Do you have a drug dealer phone? Any of these? I think that's all of them.
She's like, yeah, actually, weirdly, I only use a burner.
She's like, I heard these Raycon headphones. The headphones from Ray J. They sounded absolutely smashing. I don't know what it could be, but I'm glad that we were able to convert a listener into a customer.
You did, even though I annoyingly can't remember what it was.
It's okay. It's okay. It's the thought that counts.
Yeah, you done good.
You done good. Do you think you could get Morrissey on the couch?
Oh, I can't imagine he'd ever say no, but in fact, that's such a good idea. I'll definitely ask.
You mean you can't imagine he'd ever say yes?
Oh, yeah, that's what
I thought you were just flexing, being like, yeah, of course, Morrissey. He's not going to say no to me. Are you crazy?
Well, I mean, as your show has raised in popularity and you're getting press and New York Times articles written about you, I'm sure everyone asks you, and who's your dream guest? And we get asked that question all the time. And we've been doing it long enough to now we don't really have, we're post dream guest. We don't really, we were talking before about Michael Stipe. Chris ran into Michael Stipe from REM. He's a big fan.
Oh, wow.
He may have mentioned that he listens to the pod a little bit, and it's one of those things where you just don't. it's like it's too good, it's too close. There's no way it could work out well. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I feel that way about getting Morrissey on the pod.
There's a few people that I would not want to talk to. It's just too. They're gonna fuck it up, and it's gonna ruin it for me, and that's not good.
But we did have Johnny Marr on, and he was a lovely guy.
Johnny Marr was awesome.
Yeah,
I think Michael Stipe would be awesome too. I just think there's some people that are a little bit like.
But I think that's what I'm here for. You know, like when we had Whitney Port from the Hills on, I was a mess, and Chris was able to be the cool cucumber and keep the train running on time. And
we have each other for that purpose.
Yeah.
When it's someone, I feel like we know when to, and it's a kind of an unspoken. We know when this is big for somebody, for one of us, and the other one has to kind of keep the train on the track.
But in a weird way, when people say no, that's quite stimulating too. You just think respect. You know.
Yeah.
Why would you? Why, if you don't want to do it, then.
Well, if Morrissey said...
If I were you, I wouldn't do it either.
Yeah, if Morrissey says no, yeah, it's nice. But when we have some, like, low-budget vulture writer say no, it's like, well, fuck you. It's not really... You need us more than we need you, Chief.
Yeah, if Soho House let everyone in, nobody would want to go, right?
The dream guest question is funny because we really did just stop thinking about it. Like, it's just... It doesn't... It's more about the element of surprise, and when someone is so great or so bad, but you didn't know what to expect is what makes it exciting as a host.
Yeah, I suppose it's what I really enjoy is the shape of it, making a shape. So, it's not just about who's the most successful person in the world. It's in my case, I find it's like, who do I think I could have a good conversation with, and I could be my best self for them, and something would emerge out of it. And that's the exciting bit.
If they're famous, it doesn't hurt, but yeah, we're going after that first.
Yeah.
Look, if you have an Oscar, take your shoes off, leave them on, whatever you want.
It can't be my neighbor that I just get along with very well. They should at least be verified on Instagram, right?
Well, it's more, I don't want to have a chat. I want something to happen. Yeah.
Okay. Well, we only do chats, and sometimes things happen, but we don't force it. I feel like a few things happen on today's show.
No, it's been really nice. I've loved talking to you guys.
Oh, thank you.
It's been a treat.
Yeah, it's a treat. I'm glad this worked out, and it's really a pleasure.
Thank you for taking the time to chat with us, Bella. We appreciate it.
Thank you so much for having me.